You know, if I had my magic wand with me right now, I would do some cool ass effect, but I don't have it with me, so me sideways, right? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is directed by David Yates, the man who directed the last 4 Harry Potter films, basically the second half of the whole franchise. This film stars Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander, a wizard who is traveling through 1920s New York after his creatures escape from his suitcase. This is the guy who wrote a textbook that Harry Potter read when he first started Hogwarts. So this basically takes place 70 years before Harry Potter began his adventures. This is Newt Scamander just going around the city, finding his creatures, teaming up with a few people, and basically convincing the magic world of America that these creatures are not so bad and they're not harmful, but he's got to do something before they find him and take him away, as well as the creatures. Now, I was so excited for this movie. You guys have no idea how pumped I was to see this movie. This was one of my most anticipated films of the entire year. I think this might have been my 3rd most anticipated film of this year. I am a humongous, gigantic fan of the Harry Potter franchise. I love the books. I love the films. I went to the Wizarding World a few months ago. Loved that. I was so excited to see this movie because I was excited to go back into the world that Harry Potter was in. Basically, the Wizarding World. It's not only directed by David Yates, like I brought up earlier. It's written by J.K. Rowling, the creator of this entire world. And I was really excited to see this movie, and I gotta tell you that I really loved it. I had such a great time with this movie. I had a blast. I really, really liked Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I want to say this right now. You don't need to go into this movie having seen Harry Potter. If you want, that's awesome. They only reference Harry Potter like once. One little thing. You don't need to have seen any of the Harry Potter movies to appreciate this movie, and that's the beautiful thing. Because most of these prequel, spin-off, reboots, remakes, they try to get you to think about the original films or the films that it's based on and all that stuff. That's the thing that's so beautiful about this movie, and that was my favorite aspect of the movie. The creatures themselves were great. They all looked great. I wanted to have them as my friends and have them as my sidekicks and acquaintances. I love them so much. I loved all the creatures in this movie. Even the ones that were kind of scary looking, still love them. David Yates directed this film so well. This film is able to stand on its own, which was something I was a little worried about going into this movie. I was kind of a little skeptical that this movie wouldn't stand on its own. This film was so well directed. It's not my favorite thing that David Yates has done in this universe. I still think Deathly Hallows Part 2 is the best film that he's done. I mean, he's only done one film outside the Harry Potter franchise that I saw, and that was this year's Legend of Tarzan, which I personally didn't like. But he knows this universe so well, and he directed this film so beautifully. I thought J.K. Rowling's script was excellent. I love the dialogue in this movie. I love the characters. This movie is very well fleshed out, and all the characters are well realized, and you care about all of them, which is awesome. And going into the characters, I liked all of the new characters in this movie, with the exception of probably one character. That's because she was kind of a bitch. She was basically the Dolores Umbridge of the story. And you gotta give credit to the actors in this movie. I thought Eddie Redmayne was incredible as Newt Scamander, and this has come from someone who's not even that big of an Eddie Redmayne fan. I loved him in The Theory of Everything. I hated him in The Danish Girl, but I really loved him in this movie. What he did so well with this character was that he's just a weird, timid guy, and Eddie Redmayne added that vibe to this character so well that I think Eddie Redmayne was the perfect choice to play this character. But one of my favorite performances in this movie is Kowalski, who is played by Dan Fogler. I love this character. He's just a simple Nomash who's basically a muggle in America. He wants to open a bakery, and he's just caught in the situation, and I loved him in this movie. I'm not really fond of Dan Fogler, but he was so good in this movie. He was a really funny guy. He wasn't over the top. He wasn't like the cliche sidekick. I loved this character, and I really enjoyed him in this movie, and I loved his chemistry with Eddie Redmayne. I thought those two worked off each other so well. Katherine Waterston was very good as Tina. I think she's one of those actresses that's up and coming. She was very good in Inherent Vice. She was good in Steve Jobs, and she's very good in this movie. She's an investigator for America's Ministry of Magic, and you care about her character. You want the best for her. She's going through some things. Katherine Waterston adds so many layers to his character that I just really liked it. The girl that played Queenie, I forgot her name, but she was so goddamn adorable that I want to marry her. She's now one of my new crushes. She's one of my favorite characters this year. This character is so full of energy that she is perfect to be in this franchise. She's kind of like the Luna Lovegood in a way. I liked all the other performances. I thought Colin Farrell was fantastic in the movie. Just wish there was more of him. Ezra Miller was great in this movie. So many layers to his character. He kind of had to, we need to talk about Kevin to his performance, which is a great thing. The visuals in this movie are great. Like I said, with the creatures, they all look great, but the scope of this movie is great. There's only one little VFX problem in the opening sequence, and then there's one little editing issue in the beginning of the movie. But regardless, it's a well-edited movie. Visually, it's great. The cinematography is awesome. The production design is always great in the Potter films. I love the score in this movie because it's a new score, but it adds some elements, some notes from the Harry Potter theme, and then they add some cool stuff to it. I love it. My only flaws with the movie, I will say that there were some pacing issues in the beginning of the movie. There was quite a lot of exposition in this movie, which annoyed me a little bit, but it was understandable because this is the first film in this franchise. The reason why there's so much of it is because Newt's basically explaining to Jacob why there's all these creatures and stuff, and basically teaching him about the essence of magic and stuff. But regardless, I thought this film was wonderful. I had a great time with it. I think if you're a big fan of Harry Potter, you'll really enjoy the crap out of this movie. I had a blast with it. Go see it with friends. Have yourself a good time. I'm going to give it an A-. Guys, tell me down what you thought of this movie if you saw it. Tell me down below what your favorite Harry Potter film is. My favorite is definitely House Part 2, but Prisoner of Azkaban is a close second. Are you excited to see this movie, and can you not wait to see how this whole franchise expands, and what did you think of Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander? Thank you so much for watching this review, and I'll see you guys soon.